just talk a little bit football and a little bit about his past, a little bit about some of the memories with the Isaacs and things like that. And so while I was thinking about this, I had heard a while back an interview you had done about your dad. And his dad's a World War II veteran. And let me just say something about Terry and kind of how we really got to know each other. Some of the folks here in Gainesville, Texas are a part not only of the Medal of Honor Foundation and workers that are here, but also part of a foundation with Woody Williams to honor Gold Star families. And we've tried to raise the money and have raised the money to build a monument for Gold Star families. And Terry helped us get that project off the ground, and we needed to raise about $50,000 to do this. It's going to be built there at Leonard Park. And we said we need somebody to help us fill up an auditorium and make a speech with Woody Williams. And he came, signed a bunch of memorabilia. We had an auction with him. It was really just an awesome night. I mean, it was an amazing time together. And but part of that, one of the awesome things that we get to do in honor of his dad is when the monument is built, there'll be some granite benches that are there. And one of the ways to say thank you to Terry for helping us raise that money is one of those benches will have his dad's name on there to honor him for his service. Isn't that awesome? And but I did an interview with him, and somebody was talking about the fact that, you know, growing up as a Louisiana boy, going into the big time NFL, and your dad had some advice for you about once you got there.
Right.
And
well, his words to me, I can take this out now. His words were, "Don't forget who you are, whose name you have. Do your job. Do it well. And when it's over with, it's over with. But don't." Basically, he was saying, don't embarrass our name. We've got a good name. So it was not that I ever would have embarrassed my dad because I loved him so much, but I thought that was good advice. And I think for all of us in here today that are, obviously, we're in Gainesville, Texas, we're in cowboy country, and we're in football territory, and we all are reading about these kids and all the trouble they're getting in. Tyreek Hill recently with the Chiefs, and that takes me back to my dad's words. You respect your father, you honor your father, and I do, and I did, and he's now been gone 5 years, but I never did embarrass his name other than when I, you know, threw 4 or 5 interceptions or something like that, which was what?
What you trying to say?
Oh, that, you know what he just said? He said, or when you started trying to sing, sit down, man. I told you I'm on my deathbed. Leave me alone.
And but obviously that was some advice for you that once you got to Pittsburgh and got in the NFL.
You ever been to Pittsburgh, folks? Yeah, 1, 2 hands.
Yeah,
that's, you know,
it's the real.
That's enough, right? 3 of you.
You know, with being here in Texas, and it's just so ironic that of all the places that I meet you is in Texas, because I did grow up in West Virginia, not far from Pittsburgh, and Steeler Nation. I mean, it is, when you walk through Pittsburgh Airport, you know, everything says Terry Bradshaw on it, or Mean Joe Green, or something like that, and so you see the jerseys everywhere. But when you got there, you found out, you know, the NFL is a difficult.
Yeah, it's business, and I think I had a hard time going from college at Louisiana Tech, where it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. The fondest memories I have as a football player were in college. To go into a business where you had a coach who was not very nice to you, and a city that you were the first player taken in the draft, and there's a reason why. It's because they got the worst team. If they have the worst team, it's because they got the worst players. And so you go to that, and then they expect you to be Moses, and you're not until they give you an Aaron or two. You know what I'm saying? And I had no errands, so it was a tough go for several years up there. And I finally learned how to deal with all the nastiness that you deal with in football, and that's why when I retired from the NFL, And the question everybody asks, all you folks around here that are Gainesville folks, you see me around here all the time. I was in Walmart all day today and a few other places. You know, what was it like and why did you retire? Well, I retired till I got hurt, and I'm glad I got hurt, and I'm glad I'm out of there. And that's, you know, you move on with your life. Thank God for that.
Well, you mentioned playing football with Louisiana Tech, and there's a really neat story, and a lot of people don't know it about Terry and his football past, but you played football with Uncle Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, got a lot of Duck Dynasty people in here. He was 6'2", 175. I beat him out my freshman year right off the bat, and they wouldn't let me play. They'd let me play a little bit, but they wouldn't let me play, and it was very frustrating. As a matter of fact, none of you know this, but after my freshman year, I transferred to Florida State because I didn't feel like I could get past the coaching staff for him. And I wasn't. And to me, it was I shouldn't be sitting on the bench behind this guy because all he wanted to do is shoot ducks. That's all he wanted to do is shoot ducks and shoot deer and catch bass, and he wore T-shirts with blood all over him and Levi's with blood and fish scales, and he had on green and white Adidas and no socks, and he had a flat top back then, and all he used to call me Blonde Bomber, and he stuttered, Blonde Bomber, the ducks are flying, we gotta get you, what time this game? He didn't care anything about football, so he got knocked out. Thank you, sweet Jesus, he got knocked out. Go shoot the ducks, see you later. But that's the guy I played behind for 2 years.
Amazing how those guys were 1-2 on the roster, and then both of them go on throughout life and rise really to the top of their careers.
Exactly.
And incredible. But both doing what you love to do.
Yep, exactly. I played football for 14 years. I then got